Republican candidate, Commonwealth's attorney, Henrico, Tony Pham. Tony, good to have you, man.
John, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. And again, I wanted to wish your lovely bride a happy birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday to Ann from Tony Pham. See, that rhymes. Right? Now, I was at Haley Buick Auto on Friday, and there was some other gentleman there. His name was Pham. So, but he said he was no relation, but he wanted you to win, and he said that's because his name would get even more famous than it is. So, see, you got fans all over the place.
I'm here for the community, my man.
It's the Pham Fest.
It's fantastic, John.
It's fantastic. Now, the last time we had you on, Tony, you were running for the Republican nomination. You won that in a nail-biter.
Yes.
By the way, Alec Thomas said it was all him that pulled you over the top. I'm just saying that. You know, he said he's the best campaign manager in the history of the world. So, just saying. Now, let's go to this race. How do you win?
Well, we run on a positive message. We run on principled leadership, and we draw a clear distinction between her record for the last 3.5 years versus what I'm going to be capable of doing, as well as my investment in our community prior to even wanting to run for public office. I think there's a clear distinction there.
Now, when you ran in the primary, you talked a lot, Tony, about your background and how your family came to America and what it meant to you. Just in case our listeners aren't that aware from other parts of Virginia, can you share that quickly with us?
Sure, John. I'm going to tell folks that the message doesn't change. It's about running on principles and the perspective that I'm going to be able to bring to that office versus who's sitting there now. But this is 2015, and my family and I are celebrating 40 years of having come to this country in 1975 as immigrants or refugees at the end of the Vietnam War. In 2015, we're also celebrating 30 years of becoming naturalized citizens of this great country. And so that's the message we're bringing to the people of Henrico County, is providing them a candidate who brings a fresh perspective of what it means to live a life of service to the community that helped him and his family survive when we first got here. People don't know that we were first sponsored in Henrico County. So this county was where we began our American journey. And I'm very proud to be able to be in a position right now, having won the Republican nomination, having run a positive campaign. I look forward in the next 3 weeks of bringing that very same positive message to the voters of the county where my family and I first began.
I mean, it's a very compelling story, Tony Pham, that you have, no question. Once you get past that, voters have to say, okay, do we want Tony Pham or do we want to stick with incumbent Shannon Taylor? Give our listeners, Tony, the 3 key differences between yourself and Democratic incumbent Shannon Taylor policy-wise.
Well, first is going to be leadership, is going to be commitment, and it's going to be courage. Leadership in the sense that I understand that there's a need for principled leadership in being able to implement policies that are nonpartisan for a role as a Commonwealth attorney where the position really isn't partisan. And it really is about public safety. It is about hiring some of the most qualified individuals you can find out there who are going to be put in positions to protect our community. It's out there that her first decision that she made was to fire over 7 attorneys who had close to 150 years worth of institutional experience in protecting our community here in Henrico County. And while elections have consequences, I think in this particular position, that decision, that leadership decision, it was very faulty because you could begin to see some of the resulting effects 3.5 years later in having made that decision. So my number one goal is to institute a hiring panel or a retention panel if the voters of Henrico will have me, so we can really parse through the qualifications of the individuals that are currently employed there and those that want to be employed there, so we can make a bona fide joint group community decision as to who would be the best qualified to be in that position to try cases for the citizens of Henrico. Number 2, it's about commitment. It's about being a part of a community, bringing the Commonwealth Attorney's Office out into the community because our demographics are changing. Our population base is growing in a good way, and we need a Commonwealth Attorney's Office that is going to be very, very engaged in the very community that we are going to be asked to have witnesses from or being, prosecuting folks from. And I think it's important for how large that office is that we get out of our offices and we get into our communities and we engage the members out there. And I proposed, quite honestly, to appoint deputy-level Commonwealth attorneys who are going to work in that office as part of their job duties to each magisterial district that we have 5 of here in Henrico County, to include myself, but to be the contact person. So when issues crop up or if there needs to be a face-to-face discussion with community groups in each magisterial district, folks will know who to go to. The last one's going to be courage, John, and it's, quite frankly, say what you mean what you say, and do what you say, and keep your promises. And to have the courage to, host town halls individually in each magisterial district each year. That's 5 a year. That's a lot. But the reality is you got to have the courage if the people are going to have faith in you as a leader to go into the community in these town halls. Provide the community members an opportunity to challenge your decisions on certain cases, to go over crime stats in each community, each district, because each district, they actually endure different types of concerns. We can't say one size fits all anymore, because the concerns we may have in the 3 chapter of the Tuckahoe districts may not be the same as the concerns of the citizenry in the community out in Brooklyn. So those are my 3 key points that I'm running on. Those are the 3 key points that I'm at the doors on. We're eclipsing 6,000 doors knocked, engaging voters, letting folks know that they have a bona fide option come this November 3rd.
He is running against Democratic incumbent Shannon Taylor. This is going to be decided in Henrico County on November the 3rd. So, Tony, let me ask you this. Shannon Taylor has come under withering criticism for firing, I guess it was 15 or so Commonwealth's attorneys when she took over to put her own people in. She defended it and said that she was looking for a different experience than they had and was looking to change the culture. Well, she's the head honcho. She had that right. Now they're all in there. So do you go in and fire those 15 and hire your own? I mean, do 2 wrongs make a right? How will you evaluate the attorneys that are in there now?
Well, John, I think part of the reason she originally gave to was to diversify the office. I kind of chuckle at that because I'm a pretty diverse kind of person myself, but be that as it may, I told you one of the main key points I'm running on is principled leadership, and it's going to be about impaneling a committee to include myself, but several other individuals who are stakeholders in our public safety system. And we call it our retention and hiring panel, because I want to make sure that I have and enjoy the different perspectives from various different stakeholders that participate in our public safety system. That benefits our community completely. And we're going to go through and we're going to vet every single individual. I mean, look, the people that she brought in, I know. The people that she brought in were all lawyers, we're all colleagues, we're all members of the Virginia State Bar, and we're all professionals. But that doesn't mean that because they're members of the Virginia State Bar that they're absolutely qualified for that role. And they're going to have to interview for their job again. There's no unilateral termination, no unilateral cutting of anyone from their positions. Everybody's got to compete. And I think that's important, because when you make folks compete for their job, unless they don't want to compete, then you get the best of the best. And Henrico County residents would benefit from that.
So if I understand what you're saying, the new attorneys that Shannon Taylor hired in lieu of the ones that she fired, you would give an opportunity to reapply and stay in the job if you felt they were doing a good job and they were qualified. So it wouldn't be a second cleaning house, if you will.
Of course. I mean, that's about fairness. That's about principled leadership. What's in the best interest of the people for the people of the county of Henrico. And that's important for folks to understand. This isn't about a hatchet job that actually occurs because there's a change in administration.
All right, that's going to be the final word. We're out of time. We want to thank Tony Pham for being with us, Republican candidate, Commonwealth's attorney, Henrico County, Virginia. This is a tight race. He's running against incumbent Shannon Taylor. This will be decided in Henrico November 3rd. Want more info? Go to Tony H. Pham. That's Pham. TonyHpham.com. Tony, thanks for being with us. We'll have you
John,
back.
thank you.